Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another video. So in today's video I'm going to be redoing my desert market. Now I've had a desert market in this spot in the dunes for a really long time. There is a video up on my channel I think from ages ago where I did it originally, but I wanted to redo it today to add in the new AGRABAH market stalls as well as the new jasmine fountain that are in the premium shop this week. And I did this on stream on Friday with some of you guys, so you would have already seen it, but this is just a little speed build for those of you who weren't there and wanted to see how I created a desert market. So let's get started. So to start off in here, I already had the path laid out as this was the path I had originally for the market. I do go in and change the path as I go on, but I did already have a lot of the stuff I needed for this market. I had all of the big tents and the smaller market stall tents crafted already, so I didn't need to go in and craft those, but they are from the DLC and they just are craftables. And I also had a bunch of the base game little stalls with the blue roof on the top, and these have some different Eternity Isle goodies in them, so I kept these off to the side just so I could kind of figure out where I wanted them to go, and started mapping in the new market stalls and also the old existing ones I already had to try and figure out the best spacing for everything to include everything I wanted to include. Now, two things I wanted to include in here that I obviously hadn't included before was I decided to use some of the Mulan fence walls to kind of map around this edge here as well as the back edge, just to kind of give it a nice little structure. I do go in and like decorate inside these at a later point, but I just felt like they looked really lovely in the desert and kind of closed off this area to kind of give it a bit of a structure. And I also included the new jasmine fountain that is in the premium shop. I did have this fountain already placed in another part of my dunes, but I actually decided it would be a really gorgeous centerpiece down here in the market as well, and I just felt like it was kind of a nice place to use it and I could utilize it in the dunes more. And then I started mapping in the double-sided area of the market. I used a lot of the different AGRABAH stalls in different places, and they kind of go next to tents that are going to have a certain theme, which you'll see as we go forward. And then I mapped in the rest of the pathway and figured out the rest of the structure with these larger items. Now, once I'd mapped in the main structure with these bigger buildings, I went in with some of these smaller items I knew I wanted to use, as well as continued the pathway into these like more alcovey sections. This is a lot more path than I did use in the original market, as the original market was quite busy and tight and it felt a lot more like a kind of really busy hectic market, whereas this one I wanted to feel a little bit more relaxed and a place you could kind of stroll around and enjoy a little bit more. And I just felt like it made it a little bit more scenic and kind of matched the thought I wanted to have, so you could really appreciate all these stalls and kind of observe everything in them without it feeling too packed and too cluttered. After this, I started going in with trees and foliage. Now in here, as it is the desert space, there's not going to be a huge amount of like greenery and trees, but I did want to include some, especially around this back section, to kind of fill in this gap and give it a little bit of life. So I obviously added in some of the classic desert trees and a lot of cacti, and then I do go in later on and add in some of the jungle plants and a couple of the base game plants to just really give it some character and kind of have that element of greenery in here without it being too much. Now with this section at the back, I did want to have it a little bit more overgrown than the rest of the build, just because it is this back corner section, so I did want it to feel like it was kind of the end of this built up market area and it was a bit more rural and kind of overgrown. So I used a bunch of different plants and some rocks to kind of give it that bordered look and make it feel a little bit more overgrown and a little bit more unkept, as well as this area by the entrance where I start building a rock path. And I'm going to make a little mini campsite in here. Before, in my desert, I had 3 different campsites behind the market stalls because I wanted it to look like the people who run the market stalls, this is where they live or where they hang out when they are in the market selling their items. But this time I only had room for 1, so I created this little area and a little campfire kind of hidden behind this entrance point to kind of be a little area similar to that, because I really did love having those in the previous build and I didn't want to kind of sacrifice that, so I had to try and find a spot where I had enough room to add one in. After that, I went in with some lighting. I added in some of the craftable lampposts as my main lighting source at the entrance and exit of the build. I just love how these look in the desert and they have that really nice kind of like rustic look. I didn't want them to look too built up. I then also added some of the craftable beach torches with the yellow light, as these just add a little bit of light around the build and kind of fit this desert look. These obviously don't give off a huge amount of light, so I then also added some of the burning candle little lighting posts that I think from Beauty and the Beast. I use these quite a lot as they are permanently on, and obviously I liked the look of there being kind of like fire lighting around this market to give it that really kind of old school look and natural feel with the flames. Now once I had mapped in all the foliage, I then went in and started adding items to my market stalls, and as you'll see as we go forward, every single stall in here has a different theme, which when I do the walkthrough later on I'll kind of explain to you each theme. Some of them are very obvious and then some of them aren't so much, and some of these are themes that I had in my market before and kind of like a similar version of what I had before, and some of them are completely new and things I wanted to try out for the first time. I do have less markets in this version of the marketplace than I did previously, so some different themes I did have to kind of sacrifice and take out, but I kind of prioritized the ones I felt like made the most sense in here and I didn't have in my other markets across Eternity Isle. Now, something I will say about these market stalls that is a bit sad is some items, when they're a certain height, can't fit underneath them because they're too tall to they'll just clip into the roof. So what I do in those instances, if there's anything that I really want to use and I just can't fit it inside the tent, I will do it just slightly outside the front of it, which, as long as you give it a big enough pathing space in front, shouldn't really block your walking space or ability to get through that area. And if it's kind of decorated right, it can still work, and it just means you don't have to sacrifice those items that maybe are a little bit too tall to actually fit in the tents themselves. Now, as I was finishing up what is inside the market stalls, I also added some other items around the whole build itself to give it a really nice look. So I added in a lot of craftable items such as barrels, crates, things like that, to obviously make it seem kind of rustic and kind of cluttered in a way. I wanted it to have that feel of that it's busy and it's used a lot and there's kind of just clutter everywhere, as well as the barrels and crates giving off a really nice look as though it's full of like stock that they use to stock the market stalls. And once I had put all those in, I then added in the final few things into the stalls themselves and around the whole biome. I wanted to kind of give it a cluttered look, but also make sure I included all the things I wanted to, which I probably did still miss some things, but I'm sure I will go in and add and change things to the whole build and adapt it a little bit as time goes on. And this is the final build. So as we come in from the entrance point, we've got the archway leading us in and a little bench on the left. We then obviously go straight into our first fruit market stall, which kind of introduces us to the biome. I've made it sunset so you can see everything glowing. We've also got the sand fountain at the front, which I absolutely love. This is a craftable item. And then we head into the little hidden campsite first, which is just a super cute cozy spot. I'm really happy I managed to get one of these in this updated market, as I just feel like it brings a little bit more life and character to the market itself and who is running it. Heading out of there, we can obviously see that we have got the central point of the market with the fountain being our centerpiece straight ahead of us. And if we head to the left first, we have got our first little stall area. So the one on the right is my kind of like soap and lotion stall, was basically the plan of it in the first point. So we've got all the potions on the shelves and a little bathtub. And then on the left hand side when we've got our tea stall, so we've got the little tea craftable seats that we have and a little loom there to kind of show the fabrics. Heading into the middle, we've got some jewellery stalls on both sides on the right to kind of be symmetrical, and I've added in some gold items underneath them to reflect that. And then in the middle we have our little AGRABAH model centerpiece with the new red carpet underneath. Then we have our gold stall where we're selling lots of different gold items, and then we have our little mini craftable market stalls that are kind of displaying a lot of different eternity art goodies such as cores, potions and gems. Opposite that we have our crafting stall, so this is where people come and get their fabrics tailored and crafted. And then as we head over to the other side, we have got our other stalls over here. So on the left next to this little cart we have got the toy stall. This is a very cute one. It is just some little kids toys and lights and things like that. We have then got our firework and party bag stall. We've got another fruit stall in the middle. Then we have our vases, and then after that we have got our magic stall. This one has just got a lot of different magical items and objects that people can come and explore. Opposite that we've obviously got our symmetrical jewellery stands with the gold items underneath, and then tucked in this little final corner we have got our antique stall. This is definitely my favourite. It's got a lot of eclectic little bits and relics and antiques that people can come and get their hands on. Coming out of there towards our well point before we head to the other side of the biome, I've added in one of the little lost and found stalls. I just feel like this works so well in here and I kind of wanted to have it as part of the market. And then I've moved Gaston and Goofy stalls to this little pathway section between the two areas of the biome. Just means I can come and shop here whenever I need to, and they kind of blend in really nicely to add some character to the end of this path. Heading back round to the main market, we're going to go around the back now so we can obviously see the other side of the magic stall with lots more magical items on display. And then as we come around the back, this is the more overgrown area. We've got one of the AGRABAH clay pot stalls. We've then got our scramble coin stall with lots of scramble coin figures on it. Another fruit stall in the middle is like the centerpiece. And then we've got a flower and plant stall with lots of flowers on there to purchase, and then another clay stall with some craftable clay pots to kind of give it that symmetry. And then finally we have got another little clay stall and a little loom here to just really build this area up and give it a lot of character and feel very busy. So here are some shots of the final build. I did make it earlier in the day so you can see a little bit better, but overall I'm really happy with how the market looks. I did love my old market, but I just felt like I wouldn't be able to really highlight the new AGRABAH stalls in the original market before. I felt like rebuilding it was the best way to kind of include everything and give it a lot more character and feel a lot more fitting for how this biome looks nowadays. I hope you guys did enjoy and you like how the market looks. Let me know down below what you think, and let me know if you did pick up the AGRABAH market stall items, and if you do, where have you put them? Have you put them in the desert or have you put them in a completely different place? I'd love to know. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for all the support on the channel. We are so close to 2.5k subscribers, which is completely wild, but any help in getting there would be so appreciated. So thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who hung out on Friday for the celebration stream to watch me build this in real time. Have a lovely week, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!